Hi friends, it's Chelsea Rich with 913 Hair Studio. For today's first ever tutorial, I am going to tackle, drumroll please, how to curl your hair with a flat iron. It is by far the number one question I get asked while doing someone's hair. I would say 9 times out of 10, when I'm doing someone's hair, by the third curl I'm on, they say, I have to watch you do this. You make it look so easy. To that, my first response is, well, I am a professional hairstylist. It is my job. That being said, I started doing this before I was a professional hairstylist. I taught myself. Did it look great? No. It was borderline tragic. But that was the thing. I kept trying and I kept trying until I got what I liked. So now that we're on this quarantine, I feel like this is the perfect opportunity for all of us to pull out our straighteners, watch this video, and learn how to curl your hair with your straightener and feel confident about it. Some of you are working from home, and some of you are probably gonna start doing video chats with your companies soon, and you need to look good. There will be days that you want to look like Beyonce, and then there's days where you don't feel like washing your hair, and here's the deal, you don't have to. So today we're gonna focus on curling your hair with a straightener. I promise you, you can do it. So I think some of the benefits of using your straightener to curl your hair would be that the curls last a little bit longer. Once you've mastered it, it's so much easier and faster. The third thing I think would be when you're going on vacation, all you need is your straightener. So if you want to follow along with me today, these are the things you'll need. You will need a flat iron, heat protectant, dry shampoo. After we're done curling, I really love to use dry volume. Any kind of texture spray, I think just adds such a good finishing touch and makes it look lived in and like cool and effortless and cool. Because like, I'm a cool mom, I want you to be feeling cool too.
So not like a regular mom, I'm a cool mom.
And then we can get started. Put in some dry shampoo. Right there at the root. Shake up everything before you use it. Now that I have all that in there, I'm just gonna go through and spray some of my heat protectant. I always start from the back and come forward, and I always start on my left side. I think it's because I'm right-handed and it's just easier. That's one thing I struggled with in the beginning, was one side looked amazing and the other side, because if you're right-handed, it's just so uncomfortable and you're just like, what am I doing here? Just practice, keep practicing, keep finding your groove. You're going to realize just how easy it is. Take a small section, nice and clean. I don't want to see any hairs. Like, I don't want to see people do this and try and go up. All this extra hair up in here, you're gonna have the worst time curling your hair. My curls look better if I keep my flat iron as vertical as possible. Clamp. The amount of spin you give your curl will determine how tight it is. Keep your flat iron tight, like clamped tight as you're pulling and spinning. So I'm just gonna start from the back. Always let your curl cool before you run your fingers through it. And like, sometimes they turn out really bad and I have to redo them. Sometimes I have to put my hand up here to give it a little bit more control. See how that curled a lot better? So I always go up, clamp, spin however much I want my hair curled, and then that's when I keep my tail in between the plates and pull down. I took a little bit bigger section, so I twisted it a little bit more. But see, it's still kind of like too curly in some spots. You can always just run your flat iron through it a little bit and tone it down, and it usually tones it down perfectly. I feel like most of the time I go through and just tap the ends, and that just makes it so it's not so curly at the end. I feel like it makes my hair look longer when I flat iron it at the ends as well, which who doesn't want longer hair? If a curl turns out bad, don't try and fix it right away. Like, let it cool, come back, try again once it's cooled off. I especially take super small sections, like right up by my face. So They're just all such different lengths, and if you try and take too big of a section when there's like varying lengths, some of the curls can be super tight and then some of it's just gonna be not even curled at all. See how that's different than this? Just take a smaller section, don't clamp as tight, but these are all the same length, so nothing's really gonna fall out. And you don't have to do too much and you'll get like the perfect wave. These bang pieces, I just like them to be a little bit curled away from my face. You do not want to do those too tight. And you don't even want to start all the way at the top on these ones because then it's going to be way too curly. So I start about halfway and I spin as I go down. Even that to me is a little too curly, so I'm gonna have to go through and like do some recon. But that was about perfect. Great, that side's done. So if you're right-handed like I am, the left side will typically be easier than your right. You will struggle with your right side if you're right-handed and vice versa. Like I said before, please just keep practicing. Take a little bit bigger sections if I want something a little more loose, from like about halfway and pull down. That way you just get it's just not as curly. Let it cool. Just the ends will be a lot more curled and it'll be a lot more big and bouncy. See how I curled it around a lot more? That also helps for when you want to flat iron your ends. That keeps the curl intact, but it helps not totally bring everything down when you do tap your ends a little bit. If you're right-handed, when you're doing your right side, I try and keep my flat iron super vertical because I feel when I like go like this, it feels more comfortable to take it more horizontal. That's when it gets way too curly. I'm a human, I'm not perfect. I have been doing this a long time, but that doesn't mean I do it perfectly every time I do my hair. Straggler, trying to get away with this, trying to make me look like a fool. Okay, now I'm going to go through, I just like to run my fingers through it. Don't brush through your hair because sometimes it can take out too much of your wave and that's just never good. Sometimes you can just tap the bend, if that makes sense. And that will just enough loosen it without having to run your flat iron through it. Sometimes you can actually like take out the curl and it's like, what have I done? We're done with the curling. I think it turned out pretty good. Now it's time for more product. I don't do texture spray every time, but most of the time I do just to give myself a little bit more volume. But just go through with those roots and rub it in. I go through and kind of like lift and spray. It's like bend and snap for your hair. Tell yourself you're beautiful, you'll start to feel it. Self-fulfilling prophecies, am I right? Then if you are a hairspray person, we're gonna do just a little bit of hairspray. Kind of the same thing with going with your volume spray through here. I want you to just lift and spray. And that, my friends, I think that's it. I think that's all I do for curling my hair. But now that I have my Beyonce state of mind,
I am Beyonce always.
I can be done. I feel fierce, I feel lovely, I feel great. I can go out into the world and say like, no, I can't go out into the world. We're all on quarantine, we're all on lockdown, COVID-19. Hopefully this has been helpful. Please reach out if you have questions. Hopefully this video will help you see how I do it, do the techniques. It's all on the wrist. I think that's it.